Aloha and welcome to this photo reading session. Of course, if you don't have a photo reading whole mind course yet, you can pick up one through me. I made it easy. It's in the link below. You can buy it today for yourself, a family member, or a friend. It's a great way to grow in any way you want to grow with the books you have around you and the knowledge you have within you. So, my name's James. Thanks for joining me. Photo reading is a great place to find your potential inside. So we're working on a syntopic reading of chess. This is a collection of many books. Today we'll be doing the activation step. This is the fifth step. We'll be reading The Right Way to Play Chess. Now the fifth step, we'll be going through this book using super reading skills, dipping, photo reading, skittering, and rhythmic perusal. All these things you'll learn in the photo reading book, which is right about there. All right. If you have the course, you have the book. Awesome. And we've gone through this stack right over here. About three books so far. We got 4 more to go through after The Right Way to Play Chess by Brine, Prichard. And now, since I started this just a few weeks ago, I have learned more about chess than I've ever experienced in my entire life. And so the syntopic reading on chess, this is a great way to jump into photo reading for yourself and experience it in a unique way in your own way. So, be sure you have, when you're activating this book today, your whole mind map. This is the giant mind map. I've got my own. Make sure you have yours. It doesn't always look the same. It is kind of messy, but what's a mind that isn't messy? There is some organization here, but we're going to see if any of this opens up. So why don't we take a look at your mind map first, just to get a quick preview of it. Anything that may pop out you want to work on that you haven't gained from these last books may come out of The Right Way to Play Chess. Okay, see, I see right away I want to find out more centralization, I want to find out more about values, I want to find out more about general principles, stuff like that, and kinds of mates. Sounds like I could probably do some learning from that. And maybe there's some openings that I can add to my understanding. And I picked up a little more notation recently, so that is a plus. Maybe this book has new notations. There's classic notation and I don't know what they're called, but newer notations. So one is classic from like 30s, 40s, probably even older than that, with king side, queen side, and the others are A through H, 1 through 8. So A through H actually got me a little more confused than the knight, king side, queen side idea. So anyways, these are things that you'll pick up throughout your photo reading experience. But today we're going to focus on activation. Should take about 30 to 40 minutes today to get through this entire book. You want to make sure you want to spend as much time with activating a book as you like. You can spend an eternal time. It doesn't have to be 10 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes. It's up to you. When you get the value out of your book, put it aside. Get another book and get value out of the next one. Okay? Don't get caught up being held up by one author or another. That's what syntopic reading is all about. Gain, go. Gain, go. All right. So let's get settled. It's always important to be in a prepared state for photo reading and activating, as we're pulling all this information from inside. So we want a good guiding light to the information that's in this book outside of us. Alright, so prepared state. Plant your feet, stack your knees over your heels, and root down. Feel your spine gently lift. This helps you activate a little bit better, clearer, faster. Palms on your knees or soft in your lap. Gentle breath in, and let out a relaxed breath. Good. As you inhale, imagine the number 3. And as you exhale, relax. Breathe in, imagine the number 2. Breathe out, relax. Breathe in. This time, imagine you're holding an orange in your palm. Place this orange on the back top part of your head. Let it tap it and then hover 3 inches above it. Just for a moment, watch from this perspective. And now you're ready. Now you're a master photo reader, so you could do that in one breath if you'd like. Settle into a comfortable seat. I'm using my kickstand I got from Depot store. Settle into your foundation. Relax your mind. Relax your eyes. Keep that photo focus state throughout. Got all that flowing through my mind, and this is it. Now, a lot about chess is most of it's pictures, so you want to play out some of the games involved. Maybe there's a game in here that catches our eye. We'll play it out here in notation, and then, of course, we won't play the whole game out. Sometimes that takes a long time. If it's a quick game, I'll play it out. Be fun to see on the board. If not, I'll try to make another video with that game included. So, opening up, The Right Way to Play Chess by Brine Prichard. Just real quick, it's always important when this information was from. 1997. It's great. It's a little over 20 years old. Quick preview. Always you can just reactivate what you're looking for. How the game is played. Rudimentary theory. Cool. Powers of the chessman. So I want the values. Boom, right there. I know I want to get there. There is middle game stuff, in-game and opening stuff, so boom, everything that my mind was intuitive about in this book has, so let's get into it. Okay, so this served as a tutor book for many, many people throughout the years. This was a great place to change chess as something scary and for clever people to something that can just be played for anybody. We all the Bobby Fischer has always talked about. Boris Spassky is his opponent, 1972 at Reykjavik. Kind of put a shift on chess. That's always nice. Then this book gives you a little story. Of course, if you're reading this book with me, go ahead and keep on reading it. Skittering, dipping, rhythmic perusal, get your eyes flowing. And just like any sport, practice routine, practice over and over, that. So this book should change you from a beginner to a good club player as it's open. Staunton pattern. The names of pieces is something I might want to add. I don't think I ever put that on. What are the names of pieces? So, well, not like pawns, not pawns, kings, bishops, rooks, and stuff, and knight. But what are the names of the certain styles? So here is a Staunton pattern. A plain wooden or plastic set is best. The type known as Staunton. So Staunton is a plain wooden or plastic set. Staunton. It's a fun word. Staunton reminds me of a funny show in Scranton. Staunton. All right, Staunton. Cool. That's nice. I want to know what the other forms are. I think I've seen them here and there, but not in the memory yet. So that's something to add on. Add on as you go. This mind map is never done, and I know no mind is ever done. No person's ever done. You never accomplish anything. It's always about journey. It's always about learning. What's next? Okay, let's jump into it. Wow. Alright, jumped in, but let's get in chapter 1, how the game is played. This gives an 8x8 black and white, light or dark. Gives a slightly different perspective. Calls them command of force. That's a different way. It's kind of like a war. And we know 1 king, 1 queen, 2 rooks, 2 bishops, 2 knights, and 8 pawns. Objective of the game is checkmate the king. And kings and diagrams, you'll see it as you go, what they look like in any kind of chessboard diagram. Obviously, we know the basics. King can move one way up, diagonal, left, right, or down, diagonal. It is the ruler of the game. If you lose it, you lose the game. You must move it out of check. If you're in check, immediately. There's difference between mated and checkmated. Or, checkmated or simply mated. It means game is over. If you can see that coming and there's no way out of it, it is a way to, you can resign. Ooh, there is no huffing or jumping over the man. I've never heard the word huffing term. Jumping. Huffing. I like that's fun. There's no huffing over any of the other pieces with the king. Obviously, we know about the queen is most powerful. This doesn't give the values in it. So queen's worth 9 if you don't know. Keep going through this book at your own pace, speed. You do not have to go at my speed. I'm just jumping around. Bishop, diagonally only, obviously. We know that. The rook, up and down or right and left. Basics, we know that. Knight goes up 2 over 1. Has 8 different squares it can go to at any given time. And the pawn can go forward off the first move twice or once. It can always attack diagonal once. And it can then move only 1 forward square. White always begins. The initial position, knight king side's right. That means if you're on black, queen side, our queen is on right. There is a rule of en passant. If you're in the right position and in position with a pawn, you can take a opponent in a certain way. This is something that you will grow in time and skill. If you ever heard of castling, be sure you get aware of this move. I've heard in other books that make sure you get you put it in castling within the first 10 moves. Castling, however, can be done throughout the game at any given time, as long as the rook hasn't moved and the king hasn't moved yet. Checkmate ends the game. This gives a little bit of a diagram of how to checkmate, multiple ways. Oh, white checkmate, nice. I've never seen this before, blocking it off A, B, C, and D, the 64 squares. So by 4 by 4, so you can see different ways to checkmate the opponent with what you have. Looks like a knight and pawn, king and queen, bishop and rook, bishop, rook, knight, and king. So a lot of things are possible. That's awesome. And this is fighting off like same kind of, yeah, that's cool. Stalemate. So that puts it into perspective right away in the beginning of the book. That's one of those questions I had really deep into some of these books. Checkmate is still a difficult approach. Stalemate is a different thing. This is something that maybe you never want to come across or do. This would mean that you weren't clever enough to win the game or lose the game. So stalemate is, learn to resign, learn to draw. There's several other methods to concluding a game. So like checkmate's one, stalemate's one. Here are a few others. Insufficient force. This is similar to a draw. Perpetual check. So this is where you constantly get stuck into check. You can't get out. Repetition of moves. We should be clear. Stalemate is a place of where there are no illegal moves left. Repetition of moves, same position, occurs 3 times in a game. Same player. Okay, so if a moves, turns into a draw. 50 move roll. Once you hit 50 consecutive moves, claim a draw. Most should hit in around 40 something, but it's okay. Resign. Draw by mutual agreement. That's great. And then here's resignation number 6. Resign or concede to the game. There you go. More than half of all chess games conclude in this manner. That's really cool to know. This is the etiquette of chess. So good chess etiquette is to be sure that you leave on good grace. You always want to come back. This isn't against an opponent. This is against yourself. So it's not about losing. It's about learning. What do you learn from that? How can you grow from that? What can you bring to the next game? You can do this. Really, just like photo reading, you can play chess. Turns out I like chess. It's quite fun. Chess notation. Chess notation. This is something I wanted to get into. There's apparently an algebraic notation. Dividing the chess into 8 files, so we know those are like the columns, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I bet they use A through H. Letter and figure. Thus, every square of the chessboard can be described unique letter and figure in that order combination. So, A rook, AR. B knight, BN. C bishop, CV. D queen, DQ. E king, EK. F bishop, FB. G knight, GN. And H rook, HR. Then from back to front, 1, 2, 3, 4 to 8. So D A1, B1, C1, D1, E1, F1, G1, H1, and so on and so forth. A2, A3, A4, A5, A6, A7, A8. Going the other way, it's still A to H, but it's now 1 to 8. No, pardon. Let's see. Okay, so in this notation, it's always 1 through 8 this way, so 8 through 1, and A through H, so H through A. Huh. Interesting. So be kind to yourself as you go through this notation, algebraic notation. Understanding that is part of putting out games on to a chessboard to see some of the greatest games ever played, like through Bobby Fischer and Savasky. Huh. It's probably not great. So at first, it says it seems pretty complicated to record, but as you get going, like anything, a bit of frequency will give you, and consistency will give you a little bit of a better understanding of how this language works. So in conclusion, it's funny, in conclusion, if you have read this chapter at a single setting, you will probably be in a state of near mental exhaustion. You've probably already forgotten how the knight moves or what stalemate is, but you should not let this worry you. If you're a photo reader, definitely don't let this worry you. We've gone through a ton. You can go through this many, many times and have fun. Pick up a book and see what draws out as you go through it. Use techniques to drive that intrigue, that interest. It looks like solution. Oh, there's a test. How many men in the position given are unable to move. Oh, you have to read that. Okay. Well, we won't take the test now. You can take the test if you're in this book. Go ahead. Rudimentary theory, relative values of chessmen. So they changed how the values look. Queen would work equals 2 rooks, usually rook's 5 and queen's 9, but queen's worth 2 rooks. Bishops work equal a knight, 3 and 3. Rook is worth a bishop or knight and 2 pawns. So that says rook is 5, bishop's 3, pawns are 1. Bishop or knight is equal to 3 pawns. So bishop or knight is worth 3, and a pawn is worth 1. So those are the same. It seems as if the queen is worth 10. They is usually known as 9, and then 10 would be the game, which is the king. There are basic positions. The pin, which is learned when an attack of one of your pieces stops another piece from moving, because it would be lost. Like if you put a knight in front of your queen, in front of the queen, and there's a rook behind it, and the queen came and took the rook, you take that pin. Well, that's more of a sacrifice. Sorry, a pin would be if you move the rook in front of a piece, like a knight against a queen, and if that person who has the queen moves their knight, boom, you can take with that the rook. So you pinned that knight there for a moment to save the stronger piece. And there are diagrams in here to show that. That's always an important thing. So why not? Let's show that real quick. So say, see, lose that there. Excellent. Take that away, that away, that away. Put that up there. Move that there. Awesome. So here, if this black knight is ever moved, this rook can take the queen. So this knight is currently pinned here, because if you move it, you don't want to lose your queen, obviously. So there is lots of strategy. That's not a great game setup, but that's how it looks quick and fast. Play it out on your own. Again, you're gonna learn more from it based on practice. Okay. A discover check. So if you see a check coming, this is a discover check, the skewer. Okay, so if a bishop is about to capture a queen, the only thing keeping it there is, well, if it moved, it would be, the king would be in check, so that's not allowed, obviously. So a skewer is done with a bishop. And the knight has it's not an embarrassing attack known as a fork. I've been forked many times in chess thus far. This is where a knight takes the queen, because if you move the chat, you can't. Yeah, it's that's a fun one. You can get caught up and lose some pieces because the knights are quite clever, especially if you get caught up in the corner here. The knight's just like pow, 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 jumping around, just embarrassing. It is. you feel like a fool, but you get over it. Because you learn from it. You grow. Keep on growing. Never stop. There's endings. Excellent. So we're getting into everything real quick. Endings. So this book wants to examine one of two games, endings. Assuming that the black has only a king left. Okay, king and queen, that's one way. King and rook, king and two bishops, king and bishop and a knight. Mate cannot be forced against a lone king with. So you can't win with king alone. That'll end up in stalemate or a draw or other things. King and bishop also end up in a stalemate. King and knight or king and two knights. So obviously you need a rook or a queen to really get this figured out. Certain positions involving pawns. So that last is that the joy of a novice. So it's interesting how two knights can't create a checkmate, but if you take a pawn to get to a point of position or a promotion, it's sufficient enough to create this checkmate purpose. Because a pawn can, and when promoted, can be turned into a queen or rook or whatever. Obviously, you'd want a queen right away because you can do the most with that. So this is going to show you through game how to do that. 1, 2, 3, 4. King and rook versus king. King, queen versus king. So on and so forth. I'm going to stretch my eyes. My eye's not feeling that well. Examples of play. Time, force, and space. So it looks like representative moves of the mitt, powers, territory. Wow, this is very close to battle form. Okay. I don't see as much value here as I did other parts. Just keep on going through at your own pace. That's why photo reading is a part. I think most of my purposeful questions about this book have been answered. I haven't quite found a place or a game to play yet, so I might just pass on that in this book and move on into another book to find those things. Obviously, off a start and opening, this is cool, just notice that. Off an opening, you can move a pawn or knights. Anything else is still stuck until those movements occur. Try to get to the center of the game. Middle of the game, you can start to move your king, get a castle. You can start to move your queen, rooks around, and bishops around. Option to open up more. And in the end game, be sure you have a queen or a rook to stay confident in winning. And if you have a knight and a bishop, get a pawn promoted. This also has definitions of combinations and explanations of mating combinations. So to further your knowledge, this is a great section in the page 75. And then here's some more openings and opening. So this is a cool thing to grow your confidence in chess. Coming back to this book to try out some of these openings on my own time. Make sure you do the same. Oh, look at this. This has a list of gambits and openings. So major openings, there's Alban counter gambit. I won't go through all these. Alekhines defense, I've heard of that. Benko gambit. It's like Danish gambit, Dutch defense, I've heard of that. There's a lot I haven't seen before. This is definitely something of value. This is something you can come back to and gain more and more from as you grow, as you go. So, the gun-filled defense, and oh, a lot more openings. A lot of openings. I had no idea there were so many. I'll have to try some of these out. So that's part of this, is when you can visualize and concentrate on each of these when they're happening in a game, you'll start to routinely open them up over time. Cool. The middle game, the importance of centering. I know about that. You can isolate pawns, double pawns, or pass pawns. This is interesting. Sometimes you have 3 in an angle. Sometimes you have side by side. All things are possible. All right. Oh, that's cool. This gives you formations of pawns. These little tiny squares. Pow, pow, pow. Gives you a little information of how pawns may look during a game. Maybe how to utilize them in strength, not weakness. There's some weak ones in the last diagram, strong ones up front. I see that now. Very cool. That'll be helpful. Same thing for the corner of the board. Pawns in defense and stuff like that. There's one thing you never want to do, and that's keep your 3 pawns in a row when you castle, and so the queen can come down and take you there. When you have a bishop, that's a bad way to go. Bishop, yeah. It can happen and so fast too, so be careful. Apparently there's strong and weak squares. 7th rank. General maxims. Watch for forks. That's funny. Be careful. See right here. After castling quayside, be careful of advancing the bishop's pawn if the hostile king's bishop can check. Yeah, for sure. Examples from play. So here's something. Yeah, who knows? Why not? Let's see if it's possible. E4, E6, D4. Wait, E4. See, it's not possible already. E6, D4, D5. Now this might be too hard to see on this board. Let's see. Yeah. So like I said, this should be done on a different video. I think this is what I'll come back to. This page, I'll view it differently. Page 141. And this is just a simple 13 bits into a kingside attack. So we'll do this in just a different video. Be sure to check for that link. Be sure I write that down. Page 141 of the right way. All right, let's continue on. We're almost through this book, actually. Just a couple more minutes, probably, we'll take to see what else we can gain out of this book. Here's more examples. The queen's side attack. So again, it's more like a sport, and you just practice over and over again and see if you can recognize when it comes up in a game. So the end game, again, a little more detailed. I like this. Obviously, more detailed means more practice of the poses, playing them out on your chessboard in front of you at home. That's how I'm seeing most of this. So there's always going to be something that catches your attention. Dip into it, skitter around it, rhythmically peruse it. And if it's something, good. If it's nothing, move on. Rooks are great to prevent promotions. That's always an important part. You can utilize a promoted pawn to check your opponent with upgrade of queen or rook. It's like, oh, okay. It's going to check a white side, black side. Make sure you know how to do it from both angles, both opponents. This is amazing. So it's a comprehensive first white, then black. Conclusion. How can I improve my play? It's perfect query of an average chess player? That's actually the first question I have. Why play chess? What is chess? Why should I play chess? So that's kind of like how to improve your play. Study the in-game is how to improve chess. So study checkmate, study the in-game. Okay, so get back into this book a lot and just practice these out so you can know when they're about to come up in a game, and then figure out which one to pull off in that moment. That feels satisfying, highly satisfying, especially if you can see it happening before it happens. And here's illustrated games in the back. So again, more things you can play out, more little techniques, more little insights on how to move your pieces around. And then in the back, general information. That's fun. Match play. Okay. I didn't realize chess would be so interesting. So in match play, a time limit is typically opposed. This is interesting. So the 50 move rule is always there, but there is a clock to it as well. Okay. Chess clubs and British chess, there's etiquette. Okay, we've gone over a lot of that already. There's open tournaments, yeah, literature, okay. Famous players. Simultaneous chess, so where one player plays many. Blindfold chess, that sounds difficult. What? Wow. So with moves announced, they can use the notation to play the game. World Records is over 40 games played simultaneously in this fashion. An incredible achievement. Wow. No doubt. That's a lot of thinking. You thought at the beginning of this book you'd be exhausted getting through. Ha! Fairy chess. Other games with chessmen. Forsyth notation. Other ways to notate. That is a different way than I known. Descriptive notation. That's what I know. Descriptive notation. That's excellent. International chess. Master titles. Grading. Okay, so good. Yeah, the international. That's what I guess originally learned. Inter alia. Yeah. So yeah, that's the whites 1 through 8, black 1 through 8, and then you got queenside rook, queenside knight, queenside bishop, queen, king, kingside bishop, kingside knight, kingside rook, and then be king pawn, kingside pawn, blah blah blah, queenside pawn, so on and so forth, and then on the other side. That way I kind of like a lot. Obviously 1 through 8 through 8 is easier. Not when you do it the other way first. Grading and other notations. All right, and that's it. There's a lot of different ways to notate the board, and I'm glad I learned, because there was a book here, Rocking the Ramparts, Guide to Attacking Chess. I could not read this notation when I opened it up to activate it, and so it's nice now, one book later, in The Right Way to Play Chess by Brine Prichard. It teaches you several ways to notate the game, descriptions of it, and doesn't show you in a game how to do those, but it shows you what they are, and that's fantastic. So I've activated a ton out of this book. I now know how to notate and move the pieces accordingly. Be sure you practice some of the stuff in this book. Okay? Practice chess. Play with yourself. Play with others. Have fun growing. There's so much to experience in chess. Like photo reading, there's so many books and there's so many topics out there. There's so much to experience with photo reading. So if you need to purchase your photo reading whole mind course, you can do that through me. I'd love that. It's in the link below, made it easy for you. Get a copy of this, you know. Do it once a year. It feels really good. Syntopic reading is a great way to grow your brain faster, grow your knowledge faster. Learning shouldn't take an eternity, but inside an eternity, there is a lot of learning. So thanks for joining me in today's activation video with The Right Way to Play Chess by Brine Prichard. This is a book from 1997 and still has value today. So have a great time reading, and I look forward to seeing you in the next activation video, or heck, in the next photo reading video. Have a great day. Aloha. Happy reading.